everyone, David Hatch here. I'm a business and leadership consultant based in the UK. Thanks for joining me today and welcome back if you've been to the channel before. As I've said previously, leadership can be a tricky skill to master, so if you're new to it, then you may be looking for some quick wins or some simple things that you can do to make progress with your leadership this week, which is what I'm going to talk to you about in today's video, so you come to the right place. Hi everyone, David here. I'm a business and leadership consultant running a small company in the UK. Thanks for joining me again today and welcome. So today I'm going to give you a few ideas for things that you can do this week to improve your leadership. I've tried to keep them simple, although things are rarely simple when you're in a management role. But if you're new to leading or maybe struggling to make headway, then hopefully this video will give you some thoughts on what you might be able to try next and might help you finish work this week with a feeling of progress. So I've got 5 simple things for you to try. Check in, personal development, leadership catch-up, strategy review, and act. So we'll talk about each of those in a bit more detail. Check in. I don't mean check in for your flight, although if you're in the UK then you may finally be taking that overseas holiday you've been waiting for as the lockdown restrictions have eased again this week. But what I mean in this case is to check in with your people, have a quick chat with each of your team members, try to get a feel for how they're managing their workload or their stress level, ask them how they're enjoying their job this week, or open a discussion about what they're not enjoying at work, and maybe use that to identify or explore the things that you might be able to do to improve it for them. You could also discuss some non-work topics, perhaps hobbies or plans for the weekend, or any other common ground you have that can help strengthen your connection with each individual. Think about having a weekly team chat as well, with all of you in the same place or the same Skype room, etc. It only needs to be 15 minutes or so a week. Or another way to do this is just go for lunch together as a whole team, maybe once a month or every other week. You get the idea though. The goal is to better understand the people you're working with and to build on your existing relationship, because this will help you be a better leader to them. Personal development is the second one. Think about personal development for your team. What have you put in place for them in this regard? What else could you do? Are you doing the best you can to give everyone in your team the opportunity to access new training and develop new skills? Are you taking those opportunities yourself? Personal development really needs to be an ongoing conversation that you're having with each member of your team and with your own manager about your personal development as well. It's not about an annual performance appraisal. I actually hate those and the way that many companies choose to do them. It's about upskilling your team and your people as well as yourself. It is a vital part of any manager's job description to promote and encourage the personal development of the people they are responsible for. And yes, that does include yourself, but the others are your priority. Good managers should of course take steps towards their own training and development and have a training plan really for their entire team or department or company, depending on how many people you're leading. You must have a positive attitude to training. Make every effort to ensure your team are appropriately trained in their roles and offered opportunities to expand their knowledge. It is also really important to involve each individual in that discussion and let them be part of the decision-making process about their own personal development, hence the word personal. To get the best outcome for people and for your team as a whole, both sides of that discussion need to have input into identifying strengths, weaknesses, next steps, areas for improvement, and most importantly on wider development and career plans. These are not the manager or the company's choice. Personal development is, as the name suggests, personal. At the end of the day, though, the more skills, knowledge and qualifications your people have access to, the better you will all perform in your roles. But just as importantly, if you and your organisation are taking an interest in and investing time or money, ideally both, in people's training, then this will build loyalty and commitment throughout the team. Leadership catch-up. If the first two things I've talked about are about the team, the people, and yourself as a leader, then this one is really about the organisation or the company as a whole. It is useful to keep up with the health of that whole organisation and any goings-on that you need to be aware of, if only because it makes you better equipped to field potential questions from the people that you are responsible for. So I recommend setting aside some time to talk to other managers or leaders on a regular basis. Or if you're the CEO or the top manager, then to have that catch up with all of the other leaders and managers in your organisation. Either way, the purpose of this is to check the pulse of the company, see what your colleagues might know that you don't, what's going well, what's not, what are people worried about, and so on. It's also important to discuss within that group what each of you as leaders are individually and collectively doing to acknowledge and address any issues, whilst also applauding the positives. If you're a new manager or a more junior leader, I hesitate to use that word, but you know what I mean. If that applies to you, then don't assume that this doesn't. All leaders in an organisation need to be on the same page, and they should be regularly communicating with each other, just as they do with their teams. Strategy review. So strategic planning and goal setting are long-term activities, but that shouldn't mean you're only thinking about them once a year. A good leader will regularly touch base with the strategy for their organisation or for their team. And there's two variations in this one really. If you're a CEO or a senior manager, then regularly reviewing the strategy and goals is important to make sure that everything is staying on track and remaining relevant. You also need to be on the same page as all the organisation's leaders or managers. And each of you should be checking that the vision is being consistently understood and communicated throughout. On the other hand, if you're a new manager, or you consider yourself lower down in the company, it's still important to keep yourself up to date with what the long-term goals or strategy are, and to understand how you and your team are contributing towards them. If those answers aren't clear to you, then don't shy away from asking questions until they are, because that's also one of your responsibilities as a leader or manager, no matter how many or how few people you're responsible for. Act. The final thing I recommend you do this week is simply to act on everything you've learned from the other four things I've just spoken about. I say simply, but of course it probably won't be all that simple in practice. There's going to be a lot of outputs from all of these discussions you're going to be having, and it will sometimes be far too big of a challenge to deal with all of this in 1 week. Some issues or follow-up actions will no doubt involve a much longer process over an extended period of time. Having said that, it really matters to show that you're taking on board what you've heard and that you're doing something about it. So if you can't solve it this week, you can at least go back to the person or people involved and let them know what you are doing about it, how long you think it will take, and what they might be able to do to help. Follow through is so important to leadership. You don't want to be a kind of fly-by-night leader who only gives the appearance of listening and then never acts on what they learn. If it's within your ability, do something about it. If it's not, find someone who can help. But either way, keep people in the loop so they know you're working on their behalf. So that's my 5 things you can try this week to be a better leader for your team. And here they are again as a quick reminder. Check in with your people. Think about personal development planning for your team and yourself. Catch up with the other leaders and managers in your organisation. Review the strategy and goals of your company or organisation and think about them, whether they're appropriate and relevant and up to date. And act on what you learn. Follow up, communicate. And that's it for today. I hope that's been helpful and that you find some success in trying out a few of these ideas. If you did find this video helpful, then hit the like button, or you can subscribe to the channel and even leave a comment and let me know what you think, or if you have any leadership tips of your own to offer. If you are a new manager and you're interested in learning more about leadership or developing your skills, then I've put a few links in the description below this video where you can learn more about my coaching, mentoring and training programs. So thanks for joining me today, take care and be a leader, not a boss.